Yo, what's going on, casters? Today we have something special. Today we're going to go over a deck profile of my Krakking lock. Alright, so starting off here we have our Majesty. This is going to be our main boss monster. It's going to be our 3-drop of the deck. Right now I believe it's the only 3-drop of the deck. I believe that's the similar fashion in all of the decks. There's only 1 or 2 3-drops in each deck. I believe this might be the only one for the water, but there are tons and tons of water cards. So anyway, moving on, we have Majesty with 6 attack, 14 defense. Says this Majesty gets +1 attack for each enchanting water on your field. Water enchanted Elestrals cannot be targeted by an opponent's Elestrals effect. Absolutely amazing. Super cool protection card. Not very necessary for the deck, but absolutely awesome card, and it is our 3-drop. Moving on to the main card of the deck, that will be our 2-drop Krakking. Krakking is going to be very, very important for this deck because this is a Krakking lockdown deck. He's going to be a 2-drop, 5 attack, 8 defense. And excuse me while I move this card over, this one's a little bit easier to read. When you cast this Krakking, you can target up to 2 unoccupied slots in your opponent's Elestral row. Those Elestral slots cannot be used as long as this Krakking is enchanted. So, essentially, as long as this card is on the field, your opponent loses 2 of their monster zones, or their creature zones, their Elestral zones up front. And that's absolutely awesome, super duper important for the deck because that's going to annoy your opponent and make your opponent's plays less impactful to you. Now, moving on to the second 2-drop here, which is going to be Caprigal. Caprigal, because Caprigal is going to be our recycler. It's going to recycle a lot of those 1-drops for us. It's got 7 attack, 4 defense. It says, when this Caprigal destroys an Elestral in battle, you can special cast an Elestral with enchantment cost 1 from your underworld in defense position. That's going to be super important for a lot of your 1-drops, and we'll go over that in just a moment. Alright, so now we're going to move on to our 1-drops, starting off with the more attacking creatures. We're going to have our Veritaqua. Veritaqua for defense position creatures, or Elestrals. Gotta get used to saying Elestrals instead of creatures and monsters. Anyway, it's a 1-drop, 3 attack, 1 defense. Says, when this Veritaqua enters battle with a defense position Elestral, you can negate that Elestral's effect and destroy it. If you do, this Veritaqua deals no damage this battle, which is not super important. You're basically negating an effect and destroying a defense position monster, which this is going to be doing a lot of. So very, very cool there. And then we're going to have our Mustation card. One of the best 1-drops with the highest attack in the game for a 1-drop. Once it uses its skill, or vice versa for other skills using to swap his defense with his attack. But he has a 1-drop with 1 attack, 6 defense, but you can expend 1 water in order to swap this Mustation's attack with its defense until the end phase. This effect can also be activated when an opponent normal casts an Elestral. So you can do that on your turn and your opponent's turn if they play a monster or an Elestral. But that's super, super good. It's going to be our more aggressive play and our more defensive play. Well, actually, they're kind of both aggressive, but this one's a little bit less because it's only a 3. But with that being said, that's going to be our main attackers for our grade 1s. Now moving on to the support 1-drops. We have Galaxy. Galaxy is going to be amazing here. Usually you would play Galaxy probably at 3, but in this particular build, I think 2 is just fine. It's going to be a 1-drop, 2 attack, 5 defense. As long as this Galaxy is enchanted, swap each water enchanted Elestral's attack with its defense. So that's going to be good for a lot of these cards because a lot of water cards have a high defense. That's also going to be very good for your Mustation with its attack. Yeah, just a very, very good card. It's a staple card in pretty much every water deck. And then we're going to have our main support here, which is going to be the absolutely adorable Sluggle. Sluggle is going to be our 1-drop, 2 attack, 2 defense. When you cast this Sluggle, you can return up to 3 water spirits from your underworld to your spirit deck. Absolutely amazing. Some of the best recursion in the game. I love all the cards like this, like Quackle in the electric deck, or the Thunder deck. It's so good. I love these kind of cards. Absolutely amazing. Keep them coming, Dan. But then we're going to get into our main support card, which is going to be our Krakking. Crackhead is going to be a 1-drop, 2 attack, 2 defense, similar to Sluggle. But this creature, or this Elestral says, when you cast this Crackhead, you can target an opponent's Elestral. That Elestral cannot attack, and its effect is negated as long as this Crackhead is enchanted. So basically, as long as this card is on the field, the Elestral that you target cannot attack, and its effect has no effect. So basically, this is a 1-drop walking Gorgon's Gaze, or what is it called? Gorgon's Gaze. So that's going to be our main support cards there. Alright, so onto our draw power. We're going to have 2 Aepharos. 2 Aepharos here. It's going to be a 1-drop, 2 attack, 4 defense. You can Nexus up to 2 Water Spirits, which is essentially move Water Spirits around on the board. When you do, you can draw a card for each water that a card receives this way. So essentially, you can move 1 and draw a card, or you can move 2 and draw 2 cards. Very, very good draw power there. It's essentially a 1-drop Nectar of the Gods in that sense. Very, very good. And then we move on to our main searcher of the deck, which is going to be 3 copies of Foamy. Foamy is going to be absolutely amazing because he is a 1-drop, 2 attack, 3 defense. When this Foamy is destroyed in battle, you can special cast an Elestral with enchantment cost 1 from your deck in defense position. Or 1 Water Spirit from your deck in defense position. So what he's going to do is he's essentially just going to crash into your opponent's monsters, and then you can either go get a Sluggle, you can go get your Crackheads, you can go get whatever you need at that moment, essentially. Because this is a 1-drop heavy deck other than your 2-drop Krakking. Those are going to be the main plays there, is the Crackhead and the Krakking, just to turn off your opponent's board. And then a lot of these 1-drops as well are going to be recurred from your Underworld with your Caprigal as well. So that's what a lot of the Caprigal's power is going to be. It's going to be in your Sluggles, it's going to be in your Crackheads, it's going to be in all those things that you need that they might end up getting rid of somehow, but then you can just bring them back with Caprigal. And then for our last searcher, we're going to have Pelaquarius, which is a Wind Elestral, but it is a 1-drop Wind with 3 attack and 4 defense, pretty good. When you normal cast this Pelaquarius, you can search your deck for an Elestral with enchantment cost 1 water and add it to your hand. So not as good as far as what you're wanting with Foamy, but this is going to go ahead and get it to your hand as well. So you could, if you wanted to, search Foamy with this, but that's kind of minusing an unneeded water Elestral Spirit. So most of the time you're going to just go ahead and get your Sluggles or your Crackheads, whatever you might need at the moment. Alright, moving on to the runes, we're going to have the usual 2 Poseidon. Poseidon is going to be a 1-drop water. When you cast this Poseidon, you can enchant up to 3 water to it. You can Nexus 1 water from this Poseidon. So basically you can have 3 on him and just move the Nexus them around and move the water enchanted spirits around. Kind of lackluster compared to some of the others, but still that's very good. Gonna have 2 of those, and we're gonna have 2 Atlantis. This is kind of like a staple in most decks, I believe, right now. I'm not 100% sure on that, just kind of going based on what I think it might be. I don't know anything about the meta, but I know that this is a very good deck. So Atlantis is a 1-drop. This is our Stadium card. Elestrals get +1 attack and +1 defense for each water enchanting them. So that's going to be very good as well, especially if we can't quite get our Galaxy on the field. We're going to need those attack buffs. So speaking of attack buffs, we're also going to be running 2 of the Trident of Poseidon. Trident of Poseidon is our artifact card of the deck. It's going to be a 2-drop, and it says, the Empowered Elestral gets +2 attack and cannot be targeted by counter ruins, which is very important, especially in the meta that's going to be happening. You'll see kind of coming up what the meta kind of entails. Very counter ruin heavy, I believe. As long as Poseidon is enchanted, opponents cannot cast counter ruins. So as long as you have a Poseidon on the field as well, they can't even cast counter ruins for anything. So very, very good there. Very good wombo combo here as far as countering counter ruins. Very anti-meta deck as far as that. And I know I said that I don't know much about the meta, but I do believe that I have heard that it's going to be a very counter heavy meta. It's going to be a counter heavy meta. So other than that, I don't know anything about the meta. I don't know what the best decks are. I've heard that someone said that the Thunder deck, I believe, would be the best. Not sure, not 100% sure. So don't take my word for anything that I've said here about the meta, but definitely take my word about this deck. It's a very good deck. Now we're going to move on to our Invoke Ruins. We're going to have Ambrosia. It's going to be a 1-drop of any color or any spirit. Return up to 3 spirit of any color from your underworld to your spirit deck. So that's going to be absolutely amazing. This is essentially another Sluggle. So very, very good there. Then we're going to have 2 Nectar of the Gods. This is going to be a 2-drop of any color. It says draw 2 cards. Very simple, very straightforward. This is our pot of greed of the deck. It's absolutely amazing. And then we're going to finish off the Invoke Ruins with Rise from the Ashes. This is essentially a 3rd copy of Caprigal without it being limited to the 1 spirit cost that Caprigal has from its recursion. This is essentially just going to get you back anything that you want. It says target an Elestral in your underworld and special cast it in attack position. Absolutely amazing. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the final ruins of the deck, and it is going to be our counter ruins, starting off with 3 Tsunami. Tsunami is a 1-drop water spirit. Change all Elestrals to defense position unless they are water enchanted. So not super great if you're going against the water matchup as well, but it's going to be absolutely amazing for all of the other 4 decks. So it's going to be absolutely amazing 9 times out of 10 basically. It's essentially going to turn off our opponent's battle phase. Once all their Elestrals go into defense mode in the battle phase, they can't really do anything. They can't battle again that turn. So that's going to be it for that. Then we're going to have 2 Shield of Achilles. Shield of Achilles is a 1-drop of any color. Says this Shield of Achilles can only be cast after an opponent's Elestral declares an attack. Expend 1 spirit of any color equal to that Elestral's enchantment cost in order to negate that attack and return that Elestral to their hand. So you're negating their attack and bouncing back their card to their hand. This is going to be a stall card as well. A lot of these cards are stall cards or turn off cards. You're going to be turning off effects. You're going to be making sure they can't attack you. You're going to be doing all kinds of stuff like that. And with that being said, our last run of the deck is, of course, our Gorgon's Gaze. Gorgon's Gaze is a 2-drop of any color, and it says target an Elestral until the end phase. That Elestral's effect is negated, and it cannot receive enchantment, attack, nexus, or ascend. So it is absolutely trapped in stone, which is what we want, especially with our crackheads, our zone locking. This is essentially exactly what we want in the deck. I'm highly considering playing a 3rd, but Tsunami seems a less cost, so 2-drop kind of seems a little heavy in the long run, but we'll kind of see as far as playtesting. I would say maybe drop 1 Tsunami for another Gorgon's Gaze, but we'll see. Alright, and then finally, of course, we have our spirit cards here. We're going to be running 18 water spirits and 2 wind spirits. Alright, so with that being said, that's going to be our Krakking lockdown deck. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below, and if you like this video, hit that like button. And as always, if you want to know more about Elestrals, go to elestrals.com, or you can check out their YouTube channel, which has all kinds of information and updates as well. So with that being said, have a great day, and peace out.